All right, y'all, got your boy Cuts by Coast in the chair. He finally wanted a little haircut from me, make a little video, so you guys know I'm running out of clients, haven't cut him in a while, so we're just gonna do a quick taper. You can see he's got all his hair. I'm gonna talk him into cutting it off at some point and make a video of that, but I don't know. He's been growing it for a long time, but just a little taper, a little lineup real quick. He's got a client coming, but we're gonna get into this real quick, show you guys how I do it, and see if we can get him together. All right, guys, so first thing I'm gonna do is comb all this long hair out of the way. Obviously, we don't wanna get any of it. Well, I say comb it out of the way. I'm gonna hold it out of the way and comb all this down before we cut it down. Make sure I get everything that needs to be cut and we don't cut any of his long hair. All right, so I learned the hard way last time I cut him. We cut it a little too light. So I'm gonna use the number 2 open and we're just gonna come up and cut into this hair at the top. Again, I'm holding it out of the way. I'm gonna get the whole side panel. You can even see how much that just lightened it up. So I wanna leave it as dark as possible so we get a little bit of pop on our taper, but we also wanna cut it down so he's not looking too crazy. So again, watch the long hair, make sure you're not getting it, hold it out of the way. Back here, I'll just kind of hold the clipper out of the way so I don't hit that long hair. A little bit tricky here, I gotta free up my other hand. You guys just wanna watch getting that long hair and make sure, you know, like I said, he's been growing it forever. It's no different than if it's like this or if it's in locks or whatever it is. I just wanna take your time. This is kind of the time I slow down, make sure it's consistent and that I don't cut any of his long hair. All right, now we're gonna come in and start the taper. We're gonna leave him just a little bit of C-cup. So I'm gonna go from the middle of his C-cup to the top of his ear, kind of a mid taper here. Go ahead and bald out everything underneath. These are the Low Pro FX trimmers, the FXOnes. One of my favorites. I do like the skeletons a little bit better, I think. If you guys did miss that unboxing, you definitely wanna go check that out. These are some of my favorites. Some of the nicest clippers that I've ever used. The Low Pros look sick. The skeletons are so new and improved, or the FXs I should say, they're super quiet. You guys will hear them. Well, we were just using them. And this thing is unreal. So I definitely didn't think I was gonna like this at first. This is the shaver, FX shaver, and it's like a skeleton. So you got the skeleton handle with the double foil at the top. So super cool. If you guys haven't checked these tools out, make sure you do so. And go to babylesspro.com or check out my reviews and unboxings that I just did. Now we're gonna come in, lever all the way open, go up about a ½ inch, and you can hear these things. They are super quiet, nice crunch sound. I definitely am loving these FXs. You guys know a lot of the old FXs used to get really loud, and so these things being so quiet is just crazy, and they cut super well as well. So it does have the new MIM blade. We'll go ahead and close it up, and it will take the bald line out. One of my favorite things about these and the Low Pros, they both have the new blade on them, and a lot of people have asked if you can get that blade. You cannot at the moment, but I would imagine it wouldn't make much sense if they don't put this blade out for everybody to get. So you guys can add it onto whatever clippers that you already have. I did clipper close at the bottom, halfway open in the middle. You can see this section is pretty much done. A little bit of a dark spot back here behind the ear, not behind the ear, back by the ear. I'm gonna go ahead and work my way up and then we'll come back and clean that up in a minute. Now I'll come in one guard all the way open, another ½ inch up. I'm gonna start to tie into what we have above it. So that was the number 2 open. So we are gonna need our 1.5. I'll probably come back with a 2 closed just to lighten this up a little bit. We're just gonna set a guideline. You can see we kind of don't even see a guideline. It's not leaving too drastic of a guideline, which is kind of what you wanna do. But you do want to leave one somewhat so you know the shape of the haircut that you're trying to do. In my opinion, that's what guidelines are for. Kind of keep the same shape as we work through this taper. Now we'll come in with the 1.5. I'm gonna start to work on this little bit of a line we got above the open 1 to the 2. And I'm starting with it open just to be safe, kind of making sure we blend into the 2, and I wanna make sure I don't hurt it. Now I can close it up and we'll come right above where the 1 is. Make sure it all ties together, and then all we have left is this line down here, and we'll be done with this side. Now we'll go straight to the 1 closed, and the line is here, and we did the open 1 up to about here. So we want to take this about halfway into that section, knowing that we're going to need that half guard to get that last line out, and the 1 guard closed is not going to take it all the way out, especially with this MIM blade. It does cut a little bit shorter, and so again, you guys just need to know your steps, know what guards are going to do what, and you guys can move through these tapers super easy. You're not ever guessing what you're using, what you need to use, what you used before, and you guys have a system you can work through and be consistent when you're doing a fade or a taper. You guys can see all we have left is some slight spots right here, right above the open section and right under the 1 closed. And this is a half guard, half open. If you want to open it a little bit, you can for safety, but half open is really the sweet spot between these 2 sections. So I can go after it with it open, but it is not going to get it. It's not going to tie it all together. But half open is kind of the sweet spot, and you can see it is bringing this taper together. I'll probably move on and line it up, and then we'll come back in detail at the very end if we see anything that we don't like. Go ahead and do the other side, and then we'll move on to the lineup. All right, guys, so we're gonna comb this side out. We're gonna do the same exact steps, and I'll get back with you guys when we get to the lineup. right, so we're gonna clean up the front hairline. I brushed it down. Just gonna take a 1.5 with the grain just to cut some of this down. It's a little bit poking up. You can see my man ain't got a hairline in a minute. No. Same thing here, we wanna not cut the long hair, obviously, so I brushed it all out of the way, or held the hair out of the way, brushed the front down, and now this is a 1.5. And you guys can, you know, obviously if it needs to be shorter, you can do like a 1. I went with a 1.5. Just looking for it to be consistent, kind of match where it ties in over here on the side. And now I'm gonna hit it with some spritz, and then we'll come in and line it up. All right, so while that's drying, we're gonna go ahead and line up the back of the neck. I'm just gonna kind of follow. You can see where it's already at. It is overgrown, so we're gonna take some of this off. It's kind of like just bangs hanging over. I always call it bangs. We're gonna take a little bit off and make it nice and clean without cutting way into it. You guys wanna watch, if you do have a cut like this, we don't wanna come and cut next to the long hair, because then we're gonna take a couple long hairs off this time, maybe a couple off next time. Next thing you know, the hairline is pushed all the way over to here. So I'm just gonna take this straight down, taking off really as little as possible. Getting close to his natural hairline. I just brushed all the hair to the side, and we'll work it up around the ear. Do the other side, and we can move on to the lineup. All right guys, so I'm just gonna show you this for reference basically, but we wanna do the C-cup. We wanna get the first point that there's hair all the way around. So I'm just kinda looking where it's consistent, and I'll kinda go up until I see a solid C-cup, and that's where we're gonna cut it in. So we're gonna take off all these little baby hairs that are left. I'm gonna start at the front, my first solid point. I'm gonna cut my guideline in here. What's Beam call it? Reference point. Here's my first reference point. I can come down here and I can start to etch up until I land at that first reference point. And we just kind of etched our C-cup in. Now that it's pretty much in, we can come in underneath, clean up any hairs that are left, and work on it until it is as sharp as we want. All right guys, so I'm basically gonna stand in front of him. I'm gonna look where this C-cup is, find it over here. It's about the top right here, just a little bit above where you can kind of see where it was already lined up. So then we'll come over here, and we'll do the same thing. We'll start with our vertical, not our vertical, at the corner of the vertical. And then we'll come back here and start to round up into that first line that we did. And you guys can step over again if you need to, just to double check and verify that they line up. That's something I failed to do a lot when I first started cutting hair. And somebody would get up to pay me and I'd be looking at them from straight on and I'd be like, dang man, their one C-cup's a little bit higher than the other. So that is something I recommend that you guys check. You can see we got that nice and sharp. Now I come in and focus on this front hairline. So you guys can see he kind of has a cowlick, whatever you want to call it, in the front. All this hair goes up and that way, and it comes down in the corners. So what we're going to do is we're going to start here. We're not going to take a ton off here. This is going to be the basis of our line because there is no hair overhanging here. And then everything from this point over is overhanging. Kind of like the side hairline, the neckline, whatever you want to call it. So we are going to cut off, again, kind of the bangs that are overhanging over here. So I'll just get it kind of started. Now we'll come back this way. We'll just work it straight across little by little. I like to just go through one time, see how it looks, and then I can come back and take more off if I need to. You can't put it back on, so you don't want to go too far. Work your way all the way over to this corner. Then we'll work our way back to the other corner. Now while I'm over here, I want to work to basically the corner where I'm going to get a nice sharp vertical bar. And then we'll come in and hit our vertical bar. We kind of already know where our corner is down here. So hit that vertical bar up to the corner at the top, and then we can go the other direction and work our way over to the other side. All right, so again, now we'll just start from the middle, work our way to the right side. I have a pretty good finished side over here, so I can just look, follow it across. You can see where I've already cut. We'll just work that again all the way to the corner. And with lineups, guys, we always want to take off as little as possible. But there is a fine line of not cutting enough hair and not getting the line up. I got my guy Levi in here. You guys can't see him. He's been kind of watching, and I've been somewhat, helping critique his cuts. I don't know if you guys saw the video where I talked about, the best thing that he can do is when he does something he thinks is really good, if he wants to get better, he can bring it to me and see what my barber eye sees that he doesn't see. And a lot of the times, a little bit sharper of a lineup would drastically transform his haircut. And so that's a lesson to you guys in the same way. I remember JT showing me a haircut at barber school that he was asking for the same thing. And honestly, it didn't look like he even lined it up, because we're so afraid to cut hair when we're new. We don't want to take too much hair off, but there's a fine line there. You got to cut the hair off. You got to put a line on there, but also leave it as close to natural as possible. So now we've worked our way to the other side, hit this vertical bar. I think I'm going to probably spray a little bit of fibers on here just to make it a little bit darker. We'll hit it one more time with our trimmer, come in with the razor and hit it real quick, and you guys can check out the finished product. All right guys, so we've already hit the line a few times. I'm just gonna come in with the razor and hit anything that's left on his skin. Some of these fibers stick to the skin, so that's really why I'm using the razor. The line looks sharp. I'm just gonna go from the middle out to one side, get all these excess fibers off, hit a C-cup, and you guys can check out the finished cut. All right guys, that's it for the finished cut. I hope you guys enjoyed it and learned something. Go check out my Guy Cuts by Coast channel. I keep saying this, but he's gonna keep dropping some content at some point, so go subscribe. And Levi's in here too, so check out Levi Cuts as well. He's dropping more than Markel, so making him look bad. If you guys like this haircut, make sure you guys check out the big transformation that I did on Markel last time, and I'm gonna put one of Levi's haircuts up here as well, and I'll catch you guys next time.